Welcome back. We're assembling at Auckland Harley-Davidson in Mount Wellington. You can see our Road Captain Deano just heading down there now to start getting in position for the ride that he's leading out today up to Beachlands from here. I'm pretty happy to be back in the saddle. I've been a couple of weeks off the bike, having not been too terribly well, but feeling fully recovered now. The drugs have worked, and pretty happy to be out on the road and having a ride with all my pals. Just pulling up on the right there, you can see the familiar figure of Camo, the director of the club. He's going to be the tail end Charlie today, and looking after the rear of the ride. The group has got about 12 bikes. There's a trike as well, a pillion also, and we're heading off into what looks to be a bit of a grey and cloudy Saturday afternoon. It's just gone 1 o'clock, and we're hoping that we're not going to be running into too much rain, and it does turn out that way. We have a small sprinkle as we're going down the motorway, but nothing really too alarming, and after that it was all good. Now, as per usual, when we leave Auckland Harley-Davidson, we get onto the Mount Wellington highway, and soon after that we move ourselves onto Princes Street to get access to the motorway, State Highway 1 southbound, and we'll be travelling down State Highway 1 for, gosh, I think it's about 20-30 minutes down until we get to the off-ramp just before the Bombays, Drury, where we're getting off, and from that point we're going to be heading up into the, well, a little bit of hills up towards the Hunua Ranges and forest. We're going to be doing a bit of a loop around there, and then coming back down through some pretty nice roads we haven't been on much before. But first things first, we've got to get on board the motorway, line up as best we can. We try to do staggered formation. We try and keep only one lane occupied for the bikes, and on any given Saturday it's a bit of a lottery what you're going to experience or find on the motorway as far as traffic goes. If there's any kind of hold up, well, you're going to be stuck in a crawl. But as it turns out, today's traffic was pretty good, and we had, well, about 20 more minutes of that kind of view there. Not much to see, so let's skip forward a little bit in time. We've just got off the motorway. We got off at Drury, had a regroup, and we're now on Sutton Road, heading up towards the well, the find of this road, ride I should say, for me. Road I hadn't been on before, called Ponga Road. Yeah, a lot of fun. Delightful little country lane. It even is a road that eventually loses its white line, but you'll see that as we come to it. Coming around the corner here, there's a quarter mark situation. Dino's pointing to the side of the road. I'm indicating the right hand turn and pulling to the side, letting the riders behind me know which way the ride is heading, and all I've got to do is wait now for the tail end Charlie to come up behind, and I'm just looking in the rear view mirror. I can see him starting to pull up just behind the trike. There's one more rider, brother Tony on an Ultra, and then Camo's behind him. So we're pulling out onto Ponga Road here. A little bit of a nasty piece of gravel sitting right there, so keep the bike upright instead of dropping into a corner. Make sure we get through that without any embarrassing moments. So job done successfully. Bike stays upright. We're all good, carrying along, and I've got it's only one rider behind me, so onwards we go. Now we're going to see a few orange road cones in this particular ride. There's been a lot of publicity about road cones lately. Looks like Auckland Council in particular, and I think all councils around the country have over-invested in road cones, no question about that. Apparently Auckland Council's bill for orange road cones has been something in the order of $140 or $150 million, so we're in the wrong business there. Having said that, the use of the road cones that we're seeing around these roads is pretty justified, I have to say, because a lot of the roads around here have suffered a lot of damage in the storms we've been having over the last 2 months during this pretty awful summer. and a lot of the roads are starting to collapse or are suffering slips down the side, and there's orange road cones that are helping to mark out for people where there are problems. So I guess in some cases, well, might not like them, but they do serve a good purpose. A lot of the roads around here you do have to be careful. There's a lot of green tops out there with all the water we've been getting, and a lot of pine needles on the road as well, so it's kind of a double hazard thing going on. Anyways, we're coming up through down Paparimu Road, and we're turning on now to, I think we're turning on to Ararimu Road. I pulled it behind the corner marker here just to let Joanne move ahead, because a few minutes earlier I'd seen one of the other riders in the group pull to the side, and the tail end Charlie had pulled up to provide assistance if required. Wasn't quite sure how long they were going to be, so I knew what was happening. I didn't want to leave a corner marker there wondering what on earth's going on, so let her move ahead while I'm waiting for the other riders to catch up, and they didn't take very long at all, so the problem can't have been, you know, such a big one. Didn't need to wait for them to get past. They both knew where we were going, so I just took off and put on a bit of speed to catch up to the group, who, as luck would have it, only had a few minutes head start on us, so it was just a bit of fun to wind out and catch up with the rest of the group of riders, passing all of the inevitable road cones from various damages that have been suffered along this road during the recent stormy weather over the last few months. Now the next road we're pulling out onto is one that you hear it once, you're never going to forget it. Sky High Road. What an inspirational name. And this one is heading up through into the ranges, and it will eventually morph into a road called Monument Road, and that will take us pretty much all the way through to Clevedon, where we're going to regroup before then splitting down and heading towards the coast, and get onto Maraetai Coast Road. Coast or coastal, not sure, we'll see soon. Anyways, we're travelling on this road. We can see again cones in abundance. There's pine needles everywhere. There's roads that are starting to collapse, and we're down to traffic management with single lanes going on, and sometimes we've got traffic lights that all they're doing is flashing orange, so deciding, well, it's not green but nor is it red, must just mean proceed with caution, and so we did. And you know, at various points directed through by the cones, we can see that we're just one lane at a time stuff, but the roads are pretty sparsely inhabited at the moment. There's hardly anybody on them, so we didn't really run into any opposing traffic and any traffic issues in that sense. Now there's a little bit more riding like this going on, but I haven't included it in the video. Instead, we're going to skip down to when we get to the coast, and we're turning and travelling now along the Maraetai Coast Road, and this will take us up past the little township of Maraetai. A lot of people out enjoying the day in the water. There was some kind of ceremony going on in the water with a group of people. I didn't actually get that on film, but Deano on his channel, Deano's Motorcycle Rides, did manage to capture that. Quite an interesting event going on there. And if we then, once we get past Maraetai itself, we're very quickly arriving at Beachlands, and in fact we'll just skip right ahead there to that now and find ourselves in Beachlands Road, where our destination is existing through this fairly decent sized car park. There is an establishment in the corner, the Franklin, where Deano has reserved a table and room for all of the riders here who've come here with a bit of a thirst and a little bit of a hunger. So it's at this point we say goodbye to our afternoon ride, and I'll just leave this one to play out while we park the bikes and head inside for refreshments and a bit of a catch up with everybody. Thanks for coming along. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you're able to get out riding out there. Take care, ride safe, have fun. See you next week.